In times of greenwashing, I've just attended the first edition of the Lisbon Sustainability Week. So I feel very inspired that there are still many people that spend their time discussing about a more sustainable planet. Before I go into the review of the event and some remarkable moments, I wanted to already start with what I think it needs to get in order to become a flagship global sustainability event. Two things that I think needs to change to become a flagship event. The first one is that it needs to open up to other disciplines. Climate is a wicked problem and requires interdisciplinarity to be addressed. So, being organized by the Center of Sustainable Finance, it was kind of understandable that the focus was on finance. But if it wants to maintain its name going forward and become a flagship sustainability event, I think it needs to partner with other centers of other disciplines like social sciences, natural sciences, tech, which was only briefly mentioned during the event, and many others. So that I think needs to be addressed in the next edition. Second, I think that this format had these two types of sessions, the academic sessions and the sessions open to the general public. I think going forward, there shouldn't be any closed off sessions to the general public because interdisciplinarity is required, citizen involvement is required, and we shouldn't be separating the academic efforts from the citizen efforts. And the citizens should be able to mingle with the academics and cross pollinate and really inspire each other in a joint collaborative effort. So I don't think it's very consistent with the philosophy of interdisciplinarity and the need for joint effort that there are closed off separated sessions not accessible to everyone. So with these 2 points addressed, I think that this seed that was the first edition of the Lisbon Sustainability Week can become a flagship global event. So now let's go into the things that I think were particularly remarkable about this first edition. For me, the most electrifying session was the session by Sandrine Dixson-Declève because I was not familiar with her work and I really enjoyed her straightforward way of speaking and calling out the elephants in the room. Indeed, she has this slide with the big elephant, and then she goes on naming the different elephants, like the morality gap or the extractive economies or inequality. So, being able to call out elephants in the room is a quality that I dearly appreciate, and she is a great communicator. While the previous speakers were perhaps more academic in the way they were presenting, she really moved around and she energized the room at the end of the second day. And of course, I went out to search more things about Sandrine, and it's definitely someone that I want to follow and understand more about going forward. So that was the most impactful talk. In terms of takeaways throughout several sessions, I understood that quantification is really a challenge when it comes to climate. The session on carbon markets, which was super insightful, and you could see in the eyes of the speaker that she really loved what she was presenting. It became clear the shortcomings still in measuring impact and the different units that are used by different organizations when it comes to biodiversity impacts. Also, in the financial modeling session, the different scenarios that we're taking into account to arrive at a company valuation really gave me a glimpse into all the assumptions that are being made, the different scenarios in terms of the degrees that can be reached, the scenario of too little, too late. There are lots of assumptions being embedded into those models. And the speaker said that he didn't have trust in the absolute value of those calculations, but they were important in relative terms in comparing scenarios, etc. So definitely there's that aspect of quantification that seems to be a challenge in the sustainability space, but people are really trying their best to come up with metrics and scenarios that reflect these things and impacts that have been intangible and not taken into account for so long. Third, I enjoyed the panels because you could get a sense of what a group of people coming from, in this case, well-established companies in the finance realm were thinking, and the way they nodded to their peers' remarks makes it seem like we got a sense of what the collective of professionals in that industry was thinking. So I really enjoyed the back and forth between the panelists. All in all, it was in one of my favorite venues in Lisbon, the Gulbenkian Foundation, where you have this brutalist building that seamlessly integrates with nature outside. Like you have these big windows in the auditorium where nature seems to be entering the conversation directly. So kudos to the choice of the place for the conference. And my conclusion is that it was a breath of fresh air. In times of green hushing, I was in a place where people green spoke loud and clear.